Hello students, how are you all? Hope you all are fine and safe. This is Priyanka Upadhyay, your physics teacher, and today we are going to learn our second chapter, that is physical quantities and measurement. In your previous year, you have learned about physical quantities. So what are physical quantities? See here, quantities which can be measured are known as physical quantities. Okay, for example, mass, length, time, temperature are some of the physical quantities which can be measured. Okay, if a quantity is possessing two properties, it is said to be a physical quantity. So which are those two properties? Okay, first one is a quantity should have numerical magnitude and it should have a unit. For example, if we say that weight of a person is 50 kg, so in this case, uh, 50 is the numerical magnitude and kg is the unit in which we are expressing that particular physical quantity, that is weight. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about densities and some of the concepts which are related to density. Okay, students, in your previous class, you have learned about density. So what is density? In physics, we refer to the lightness or heaviness of different materials by the use of the word density. Okay, uh, we will take one example, oil and water. So if you pour oil in the water or if you pour water in the oil floats on water because oil is less denser than water. So what is density? Density of a substance, it is defined as mass of the substance per unit volume. So how to understand this one? In per unit volume, whatever the mass is occupied by the substance, it is known as density. So if m is the mass of the substance and v is the volume, then density will be defined as density is equal to mass per unit volume. Already I have told you that when we speak something per unit, that per unit will come in the denominator. So density is equal to mass by volume. So how to find the unit? So density is a physical quantity and physical quantities have units. So unit of density is nothing but unit of mass divided by unit of volume. So what is the unit of mass? Unit of mass is kg and unit of volume is meter cube. Okay, so the unit of density is in SI system is kg per meter cube and unit of density in CGS system. Okay, in CGS system, what is the unit of mass? Unit of mass is gram. Unit of volume is centimeter cube. Therefore, in CGS system, the unit of density is gram per centimeter cube. So how to convert, sorry, not to convert, how to know the relationship between gram per centimeter cube and kg per meter cube? Here you just look at this pointer. So we have taken 1 gram per cm cube is equal to, see here, 1 gram is nothing but 1 divided by 1000 kg. Okay, here in the denominator we have cm cube, that is 1 centimeter is 1 centimeter cube is equal to 1 divided by 10 raised to 6 meter cube. So we will get the answer 1000 kg per meter cube. You all have studied this in your previous year. Okay, so here 1 gram per centimeter cube will be equal to 1000 kg per meter cube. Okay, students, the next thing is density. Density, it is a characteristic property of a substance. So what does it determines? It determines how densely the matter is packed in certain volume of that substance. Okay, if you I'll give you an example. If you take two bowls of same volume, and in the first bowl you just pour the pieces of iron or iron powder, and in the second bowl you can pour the pieces of wood. You can observe that the bowl which is having pieces of iron is heavier than the bowl which is having pieces of wood. This is because density of iron is more than that of wood, because the atoms or the molecules of the iron are densely packed, are closely packed in the given volume or in the given volume than those of wood in the same volume. Okay, you have two bowls. What happens here? The iron powder. Okay, in iron powder, the atoms or molecules are closely packed. That is the reason, okay, density of the iron powder is more than that of the wood powder in the same volume bowl. Next one, uh, the density of substance is, it is the product of number of molecules present in that particular volume and the mass of the molecule. If you multiply the mass of the molecule and the number of molecule present in that particular molecule, you are going to get the density. Okay, just a minute. Here D is equal to M into N. This M is the mass of one molecule and N is the number of molecules per unit volume. So if you are going to multiply these two, you are going to get the density of substance in that particular volume. Mass of a molecule and number of molecules present per unit volume vary from substance to substance. See here, mass of a molecules are different. You know that mass number will be different for different atoms. So the number of molecule present in per unit volume will also vary from substance to substance, and that is the reason there is a difference in densities of substances. All substances do not have same density. The reason behind this is of a molecule and number of molecules present per unit volume vary from substance to substance. Okay, here is a table in which densities of some common materials is being given. It is in kg per meter cube. Please go through this. Next one is determination of density of solid which is heavier than water. Okay, how to determine the density of solid? See here, to determine the density of solid, what we need to do? To find the density, we should know mass and volume of that particular substance. So how to find the mass and volume of particular substance? Take a stone, and weigh it. Okay, take a stone and weigh it and note down the mass as m. Next, immerse it in a beaker as shown in the figure. Here there are two beakers. Initially, in this left beaker you can add some amount of water, and in this you can immerse the stone, okay, which is tied with the fine thread. So in this case, what happens? The volume of water raises to some extent. Initially, it was 75 ml, and now the volume is 89 or something. So, okay, initial volume will be noted as V1 and the final volume will be noted as V2. Okay, so when you immerse the stone, the volume of liquid, that is volume of water, increases. So in this case, whatever this increased volume V2 minus V1, it gives you the volume of this particular stone. Okay, this V2 minus V1 will give you the volume of that particular stone, and by using this formula, density is equal to mass by volume. This symbol indicates this is nothing but rho. It is the symbol of density. Okay. So in this case, if you substitute the value of mass of that stone and that volume of stone is nothing but V2 minus V1, you're going to get the density of that particular substance. Next one, determination of density of an irregular insoluble solid using Eureka can. Eureka can is a can which is shown in figure 2.2, and it has a mouth at one end, okay, at the top. See, in this case, we need to find out mass of the solid using beam balance. First, take a beam balance and measure the mass of solid. Then take a Eureka can and fill it with water as shown in the diagram. Till the mouth you can fill water. Next one. Okay. Step 2. Tie the solid with a string and gradually dip it inside the can. The solid displaces the water. Okay. When you fill this can with the water and when you immerse the stone in the water is going to displace from the can, because when you immerse stone in the water, the level of the water increases and whatever the increased amount of water is there, it will displace into the beaker which is kept beside the mouth of the Eureka can. Now the displaced water will be collected in a measuring cylinder. Okay, next one. So in this case, you have to measure the volume of displaced water, that is in centimeter cube, and you already know that 1 centimeter cube is nothing but 1 ml. So whatever the amount of water which is collected in the beaker, you have to measure that. So it will be in ml or centimeter cube. Next, you have to find the density of solid using the same formula. Density is equal to mass by volume. With the help of beam balance, you have measured the mass of stone, and now the amount of the volume of the stone will be measured by using the displaced water. Okay, the amount of displaced water, that is volume in cm cube, that is m by v, and you are going to get the answer in gram per centimeter cube or kg per meter cube. Okay students, the next one is determination of density of liquid using density bottle. Density bottle is a glass bottle with a ground glass stopper at its neck and that has a fine hole in it. When the density bottle is completely filled up with the liquid and the stopper is inserted, the excess liquid flows out through this hole. The bottle is now filled up with a definite volume of the liquid. Okay, just a minute. This figure 2.4 shows density bottle. Okay, this is a density bottle. It is a round bottom flask and it has a stopper over it, and this stopper has a fine hole. When this density bottle is filled completely with the liquid and the stopper is fitted into the mouth, so the excess of liquid will flow out through this fine hole. Now what we need to do is we need to find the mass of the empty bottle. Initially we need to find the mass of the empty bottle and we have to note that one as m1 grams. Next, in the second condition, the second case, we have to find the mass of the bottle with which is filled with the water. Now initially we have taken the mass of this empty bottle and next we have to fill up this density bottle with water and we have to measure the mass and we have to note that mass as m2 grams. Next, what we need to do is we have to fill this density bottle with liquid and we have to measure the mass, and this mass will be m3 grams. Now what we need to do is we have to find the mass of the water. How will you find the mass of the water? See, a mass of the water. M2 gram is mass of the bottle filled with water, and M1 is mass of the empty bottle. If you subtract this M1 from M2, that is mass of the empty bottle from the mass of the bottle filled with the water, you are going to get the mass of water. In the same manner, we are going to get the mass of the liquid. So we are going to subtract the mass of the empty bottle from the mass of the bottle which is filled with the liquid. That is M3 minus M1 will give you the mass of the liquid. Next, volume of 1 gram of water is equal to 1 cm cube, and volume of M2 minus M1 gram of water will be equal to M2 minus M1 cm cube. Hence, volume of liquid will be equal to volume of water, because container, the density bottle is same, therefore the volume of liquid is equal to volume of water, that is M2 minus M1 cm cube. Next one, we need to find density of liquid. How to find density of liquid? Density of liquid, to find the density of liquid, we need to find mass of liquid divided by volume of liquid. Mass of liquid, we know that the mass of liquid is M3 minus M1, and volume of liquid, which is equal to volume of water, that is M2 minus M1 gram per cm cube. You are going to get density of liquid in gram per cm cube. Next one is relative density. How to find relative density? Okay, so what is this relative density? Actually, we know that different substances have different densities. See, for example, density of aluminium is less than density of iron, but it is more than wood. If we want to show all possible comparisons between large number of substances, we require very large table. So to avoid this difficulty, the density of substance is compared with the density of most common substance, that is water. This will give us the concept of relative density or specific gravity. So in relative density, what we are doing is we are comparing the density of liquid with the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Listen here. Density of water at 4 degrees Celsius is always equal to 1 gram per cm cube. Here, the relative density is nothing but it is the ratio of density of substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, it is the ratio of density of substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, now to measure this density of substance, we will take mass of 1 centimeter cube of that substance, and we will take mass of 1 centimeter cube of water. Next, this mass of 1 centimeter cube of substance is nothing but mass of V centimeter cube of the substance. Here we have taken 1 centimeter cube, and here we have taken any volume of the substance, and here also mass of V centimeter cube of water, that is mass of any volume of water. Next one, it is nothing but mass of any volume of substance divided by mass of same volume of water. This shows that the density of liquid measured by density bottle is nothing but its relative density. See here, this density bottle is going to give us the mass of any volume of substance divided by mass of same volume of water. That is the ratio it is going to give, and that is nothing but the relative density. Thus, the relative density of the substance is also called as specific gravity. As it is a ratio, it doesn't have any unit. Okay. Okay. Next one is variation in density due to temperature difference. See here, almost all the substances expands on heating and contract on cooling, but the mass of a substance, it remains unchanged. When you heat substance or when you cool substance, the mass will remain as it is, and some of the substance they expand, and some of the substance they contract. But water behaves differently. Okay, water is an exception. When you heat water from 0 to 4 degree Celsius, 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, it means you are heating up the water. When you heat water, it has to expand, but instead of expanding, it contracts. And above 4 degree, water expands when heated and its density decreases, and this behavior of water is known as anomalous expansion of water. See here, between 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, it needs to expand, but it contracts. And between 4 degree to 0 degrees Celsius, it needs to contract, but it expands. And this behavior is known as anomalous expansion of water. And after above 4 degrees Celsius, water again expands when heated and its density decreases. In case of solids, the change in volume with rise in temperature is very small, and therefore density of solid hardly changes. But in case of liquids and gases, the change in volume in change in temperature is very large. Hence, their densities are going to change. With the rise in temperature, density decreases, and on cooling, density increases. Next one, comparison of density of solids, liquids and gases. Okay, so we already know about the three states of matter, that is solids, liquids and gases. So in solids, the molecules are tightly packed, they are closely packed, and you know that the intermolecular force of attraction is very large and intermolecular space is minimum. We can say that least intermolecular space. And so the mass per unit volume will become more. When the mass per unit volume increases, the density increases. So the density of solids is more. Next one is liquids. In liquids, the molecules are free as they are less tightly bound and intermolecular space is more than solids, and it is less than gases. So for same substance, the mass per unit volume, that is density, is less than that of solid but more than that of gases. And in gases, what happens? The molecules are free to move. They move randomly along all axes. So the mass per unit volume, and that is density of a gases, is least among the three states. Okay. First one, density of solids is more compared to liquids, and density of liquids is more compared to gases. The next concept is about flotation. So what does the flotation word means? Flotation, as the name states, it means float. See, a flotation, it is made up of the word float. See, a body floats or sinks in liquid. Okay, so when a body is immersed in liquid, it is acted upon by two forces. First thing is weight, and second thing is upthrust or buoyant force. To understand this one, let's do an experiment so that you will come to know about the two forces which are acting on the body. Now, take a bucket full of water and try to immerse an empty bottle in the bucket. See here. Try to immerse empty bottle in the bucket. That empty bottle wants to sink, wants to go inside the water. That is the weight which is acting vertically downwards. Next, when you try to push the bottle inside the water, something pushes the bottle back. That is nothing but the buoyant force or the upthrust, that is R, which is acting vertically upwards. This force has the tendency to move the body up. And one more example we will take. Take a stone and try to immerse in a water, definitely the stone will sink to the bottom. Here, the weight of the stone, the stone is going inside the water, that is nothing but the weight of the stone. There also force will be acting on the stone and which will be opposing the motion of the stone. That force is nothing but Bion's force or upthrust, which will be acting vertically upwards. Now listen, what is Bion force? Okay, or upthrust. The upward force experienced by a body when partly or completely immersed in a liquid is called upthrust or Bion force. When a body is partly or completely immersed in a liquid, it experiences some kind of upward force. You experience that something is pushing you up, and that is known as buoyant force. Next one. Depending upon the values of R and W, that is buoyant force and weight, the following three situations arises. See here, when the weight of the body is greater than buoyant force, W will be greater than R. So in this case, what happens to the body when the weight is greater than buoyant force? For example, take a stone and throw it in the water. It will sink to the bottom because weight of the body is greater than the buoyant force which is acting on it. In this case, see here, in this case, the resultant force, that is W minus R, acts on the body in the downward direction. The body will sink in the liquid and settle at the bottom under this resultant force. If you take a stone and if you throw it in the water, it will sink to the bottom because the weight of the body is greater than the buoyant force of the water. Okay, this happens when density of the body is greater than density of the liquid. See, this happens only when the density of the body is greater than density of the liquid. That is, density of the stone will be greater than the density of liquid. Now, we can conclude that when W, weight of the body, is greater than buoyant force, the body sinks to the bottom. Second one, when the weight of the body is equal to the buoyant force, that is W is equal to R, what happens? See, this picture you can see V1, W is equal to R. In this condition, what happens? The resultant force acting on the body will become zero and the body can be placed anywhere inside the liquid. That is, the body floats just under the surface of the liquid. See, in this case, the weight is equal to the buoyant force. Both the force which are acting on each other are equal. In this condition, this body just floats on the liquid. It indicates that the density of substance is equal to density of liquid. Third one, weight of the body is less than the buoyant force. When the weight of the body is less than the buoyant force, what happens? See here, in this condition, when the weight of the body is less than the buoyant force, the body floats on the top of the liquid. Just do an experiment. Take a bucket full of water and in that just immerse an empty bottle. That empty bottle will float on the surface of the water. This indicates that the weight of the bottle is lesser than that of the buoyant force. Or we can say that the density of the bottle is lesser than that of the density of the liquid. In this condition, the body floats.